Welcome to some more multiplayer challenge tips and tricks, this time for the Tour of Duty, Precision, and Gear categories. Let's get right into Tour of Duty with Things Are Looking Up. Get a kill after healing with Stim Shot in Hardcore 50 times. Stim Shot in Hardcore allows you to heal 1 time per life. That isn't very useful though, because most people run weapons that will one-shot kill from full, so it'd be nice to get this challenge done quickly to not have to use Stim Shot in Hardcore all the time. What the description doesn't tell you is that it has to be a kill shortly after healing. You can't heal up and get a kill 20 seconds later. That doesn't appear to count. The longest concrete example of mine I recorded was just under 3 seconds from the injection to the kill hit marker. The challenge pop-ups are very helpful to know that it counted. That's the thing about challenge testing, you can't just hop in a private match and work it out. So I can't tell you exactly how long the time frame after healing is that you need to get the kill. Maybe the actual window is closer to 5 seconds, but that isn't terribly important as long as you know you should be trying to get the kill as quickly as you can after healing. So something with decent hipfire is ideal since you can shoot while healing, maybe an SG-12 or a laser sight Strife or ABR as some ideas. When it comes to taking the initial damage, you can damage yourself and that'll work just fine. The challenge is only about the healing part, so you can take some fall damage or some drowning damage, but those are very map specific. Here are the 2 most reliable ways to damage yourself, one being fall damage via Ruin's grappling hook. Walls are much more common than conventional fall damage spots, but it can be tricky to get used to the height that you need to grapple to avoid either dying or taking no damage at all. There's a sweet spot in between, and finding that can be frustrating. There are other equipments you could damage yourself with, but the grapple recharge time is only 15 seconds, several times faster than everything else, and equipment charge isn't an option because you need a Stim Shot. That's one method, but I'd say a far better way is to run Flak Jacket with the launcher. Without Flak Jacket, you will always die blowing yourself up. With Flak Jacket, it's actually very easy to shoot a wall or the ground enough to hurt yourself and survive. You will still die if you shoot directly underneath yourself, but I would consider this method far easier to get used to than trying to judge grappling hook distance up a wall, and there's no recharge time to worry about at all. You can hurt yourself every time you respawn. Very convenient, it'll just take a couple extra class points. A sample class may look something like that. Then it all comes down to the timing of healing before you get in a gunfight. Healing right when you see someone may lead to unnecessary deaths, although hipfiring while healing can be effective and did seem to count, while healing too early is safer, but might waste your only heal for that life if you don't run into someone quickly. If you're playing Hardcore Free-For-All or Hardcore Nuketown though, gunfights will be more frequent, and healing shortly after taking the damage and hoping to run into someone isn't a bad idea. There is no one correct way, just use your best judgment to heal whenever you think you're about to get in a fight, or if you know there's a camper around the corner, or are using the Seeker Shock drone, anything like that. With the help of the launcher strategy, this challenge should go by fairly quickly, or if you don't mind running Stim Shot in Hardcore, you can just complete it the natural way by taking damage from enemies, which I did for the second half of the challenge thanks to the Hardcore Nuketown playlist. Whatever it is about Nuketown, I seemed to be taking damage and surviving much more often. Maybe more people were using SMGs, or the high action just made it feel like it was going by faster, but I didn't mind doing it that way. Whatever works for you. And it wouldn't be a challenge video if I didn't recommend Nuketown for absolutely everything. That should take care of Things Are Looking Up, and that's really the one thing here that required a strategy. Here's that hardcore punching challenge I mentioned last time. A lightweight dexterity class should make that a breeze. Living on the edge, you could use the same launcher method to injure yourself, but I don't think you have to. It should come naturally over time, especially while going for the 75 hardcore top 3s and 100 hardcore wins. All the rest of these challenges are just very generic big grinds that don't require any focus. So let's hop over to Precision. Not a very tough category, but I saw many questions about some of these, so I'll say some things about them. With Sharpshooter, I had someone say they were doing this, but it wasn't unlocking for them. I can't speak to if there actually is a bug affecting this challenge for some people. That definitely is the case with some challenges in this game, but it worked fine for me, and I think for most people. Just make sure you are using a sniper rifle like it says. You can't be getting one-shot kills with any old gun in Hardcore, so the best way would be with a Paladin in core, loaded up with all those high cal attachments, or an SDM or outlaw in hardcore, and play a long game mode like safeguard or control, or any one of those temporary endurance modes where the time and the score is doubled if one is a featured mode, those should make it no problem, assuming the challenge is working for everyone. You can check your medals after the game to confirm you did get 10 or more one-shot kills. If it still isn't working, then I don't know, I hope they can resolve whatever issue this challenge may have. Far-sighted, an easy way to do that would be with the Strife or Mozu in hardcore, or the Mozu with Skull Splitter in core, because that pistol longshot distance isn't very long. Playing with the pistols in hardcore should get you that 3 longshot kill streak without any effort. In the Flow is one you may have gotten done with the method I recommended for the Underkill challenge, the Strife and Mozu in hardcore, because the time to kill is instant, and I played so much Nuketown when that playlist was around, my primary and secondary swap kills were often double kills, and I had this done well before I had the Underkill challenge done, but if you did that a different way, you could jump back into hardcore with maybe an ABR and a Strife. Shouldn't be too bad. Of course, Nuketown, if available, or free-for-all will work too. And finally, hard stop. Well, if you play hardcore for camos, you'll have this done no problem, and that is the easy way to do it. Otherwise, in core, the best way would be high cal SDM. Everything else in here, I don't have any meaningful advice to share because they should happen naturally, but if you disagree and have any questions about these, do let me know. Lastly, I figured I'd throw in the gear category after getting a lot of equipment charge related questions, like these two down here, charged up and job done, for 10 specialist equipment kills in one game, and 5 objective specialist equipment kills in one game. Many people saying they think these are also bugged or very difficult, when, again, I did not have that experience. I did test that it has to be specialist equipment, like it says, so that means you can't run around with tomahawks for the quicker recharge, and it also doesn't mean specialist weapon, only equipment. When it comes to these two challenges, the game mode playlist you pick is far more important than what specialist you pick or any other strategy. I didn't make any attempt at these challenges until they added those endurance modes. I even tweeted out, those endurance modes will really help with all of the in-one-game challenges. Be sure to take advantage of them. And sure enough, the very first game of Endurance Hardpoint I played, I unlocked both of these in the same game, because it just goes on for so long. In a regular game of Hardpoint, these would be very difficult challenges, so I highly recommend waiting for an endurance mode to come back, or something similar. It seems like they cycle them around quite a bit. If you can't wait, Safeguard can be pretty long as well, and has people grouping up frequently, but it can also end quickly if one team is way stronger than the other. I do recommend picking Battery or Firebreak since they have the most lethal equipment. Firebreak, I would say, is more lethal when you can get in a good spot. Nuketown Hardpoint. I already used this clip, but too bad. 5 objective kills in one game, more like in one life. But the reactor core recharge time is up around 1 minute and 15 seconds with equipment charge, while battery is down at 40 seconds, almost half the time. So you should really be comparing 2 cluster nades to 1 reactor core, and cluster nades are easier to use, being throwable, not as big a deal if you mess one up, so battery does seem like the way to go. Aside from that, there's no secret to it, except I strongly recommend waiting for Endurance Hardpoint to come back if you were one of those people saying you were struggling with these challenges. I don't think there's any bug with them, but again, I don't know for sure. Some challenges are inconsistent in this game. Then I also had some people saying that even the regular equipment charge challenge here was acting strange, another thing I didn't experience. But I saw 2 people recently saying that their progress was really slow on this. To that, I really don't know what to say. I mean, it is a kind of a slow challenge. You may only get 1 or 2 towards it each game, depending on what you're playing. But there's no big secret here either, as long as you're not picking people like Crash and Ruin and Seraph who don't have damaging specialist equipment, and you are using the class that has equipment charge on it every time. I mean, I don't want to sound like a condescending douche here, but that's about all I can think of. Maybe something it could be, it says EKIA in the challenge, but I only ever really used Battery and Firebreak. I wish I could go back and test something like the 9-bang. Maybe you actually need direct action kills, and something like 9-bang assists aren't going to count, even though that seems like it should. That's all I can recommend, is if you aren't using the lethal gear specialists, to try that out and see if that makes it easier. I don't remember seeing any questions about anything else in here, which is good because there isn't a whole lot to say about them. Some of them may take a while, but don't require a special strategy other than using the different gears for a while and doing what the challenge tells you to do. Of course, for Filthy Rich here, 5 streaks in 1 life, you can run the lowest streaks possible to make that easier on yourself. If you have any issues with that challenge appearing not to track, that may be because, if I'm not mistaken, you have to use the streak before it gets overwritten. So if you have a dart and you earn another dart on top of that without having thrown the first one, that won't count as earning another streak. So try to clear them out before earning another one. There we have it, 3 more challenge categories down. As always, if I skipped over something you had a question about in there, feel free to ask and I can try to provide more detail. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.